Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Seek Therapy Podcast. It's me, Jasmine,
And America.
And Jasmine Ty.
and we are back. So, how's everything been? What's been our highlight? What's been our challenge? Um, hmm. So, Jasmine, you had sent to the group text about LAUSD going on strike.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was crazy because I didn't have that on my bingo card. I wasn't prepared. Um, I just didn't think that was happening. So I did have a lot of anxiety about that because I didn't know what to do. Um, I got mortgage. I'm about to move. Like I have things that I have to pay for, and so I need my check to look the same or better. And so I had like physical anxiety, like for the first time, like having that sick feeling in your stomach and just like that heaviness in your chest and just baby, she was feeling ill. Was you gonna say something?
I was gonna say, and that shit feel crazy, don't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that shit is wild.
Been there.
It's wild.
And to like I won't say I've never had that experience, but for that to not be the norm and then to have that happen out of nowhere, I was like, what? What's happening? So that was a challenge. Um, my highlight is that I did have a student come and they're like affiliated, and so they was like, talking to you really helped me. Like I didn't feel the need to smoke. I didn't get that urge. And so I was like, period. And then he was like telling me about gang culture so that I could understand, so that I can like better help him and other students. So that was just a really great highlight in the midst of that anxiety, baby. How's your week been, America?
Let me first say I'm sorry that you've been having a physical experience. Because it's one thing to have it in your head and feel it that way, but it's another thing to feel it in your body, and that shit is scary. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I understand, and I'm sorry that was the experience this week.
Thank
Um,
you.
Challenges. I'll start with challenges. This wig.
Oh my God.
No, but finding someone to consistently do the maintenance things and do them well is a challenge for me this week, which is a first world problem to have. I realize that, and bitch, I'm annoyed. Um, so I don't believe really in professionalism. I know that's rooted in white supremacy. But baby, example, I had a lash appointment yesterday at 2 o'clock. Baby said, come in Saturday at 2. I said, Saturday at 2 is perfect. I will see you then. Baby responded and said, okay. I got there at 1:58. There's no cars in the parking lot. I'm confused. I am confused.
I am befuddled.
Like, bitch, you said 2 o'clock. So
I'm at your job.
I'm at your job at the time you told me you were going to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting and I'm looking, and it's in my old office place where I had my office. So I'm like, okay. So 1:58, 1:59, 2 o'clock. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go pull the door. Let me see. The door is locked. Nobody comes. So I say, okay. Am I in the wrong spot? Y'all, bitch had me gaslighting myself. Am I in the wrong place? I'm like, no, you're not in the wrong place. I send sis a good message. Hey girl, here, the door's locked. Nothing, y'all.
No
Never
response.
no
Not crickets.
no crickets. I think crickets were louder than she was. Like it was dead ass silent.
Yeah.
So I go to the beauty supply store around the corner, to burn some time, yada yada whoop whoop whoop. It's 30 minutes later. I
Not
was
30.
still nothing. I was like, well, guess I'm gonna get my lunches in a day. Y'all, she responded back to me last night
Not last night.
at 9 p.m., which is 7 hours after the appointment, and said, oh my goodness, I never sent you the address. I didn't know you had it, so I didn't consider the appointment confirmed.
But we confirmed the appointment.
I'm trying somebody new. I was just there 2 weeks ago, so I know where it is. I was there.
You said that to her, of course, right?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I was there a few weeks ago. And then she said, can you come in and I'll give you a discount? That was my fault. Okay.
Discount.
You're right. It was your fault. And no, a discount won't suffice.
Because what you mean? What do you mean? You didn't know you told me 2 o'clock? And I said, that's perfect. See you then. And you said, okay. Well, I didn't send you an email. Okay. And we had so does the email the conversation? I don't
I
understand.
don't understand.
So, and then the people who I know who are, and not with lashes, this is with other things, who are a little bit more dependable, workmanship don't be what it needs to be. And I just really want us to do better. And it'd be different if we were talking about I'm going to people who, might be charging on the smaller end. But I'm talking about people who charging real money. Like we talking almost $200 for a set of lashes. We talking, $500-$600 for a wig. We
We're
not.
not talking.
Oh,
No,
we
tripping.
talking $400-$500 for faux locks. Like I'm not giving out pennies, right? And even if I was paying pennies, bitch, that's still my money, and I deserve
Right.
it.
It's still your penties.
But I don't understand. And again, I try not to, I know Black folks, people of color having businesses for many of us is new. And I know it's a process, especially when they're a little bit younger. So I told y'all about last week, and y'all was on the phone with me as I navigated this damn wig. So it's like, I try to be understanding of people and where they are in terms of their own development as business owners, but y'all got to do better. But not just Black people, but we got to just do better. So yeah, that's my challenge. And along with that, I guess my challenge is not cussing people the hell out, because I really be wanting to cuss people the fuck out, because do better.
Okay.
I
So
consider that a highlight.
encouraging growth, right?
Okay, so my highlight is I'm no longer cussing people out and wanting to box them because they don't possess the ability to run their business as well.
That's also coming from a business owner.
Right. Who also has had to navigate the challenges, right? And I'm understanding of people who have certain boundaries in place. So, just because if I send you an email and you don't respond, but you're on Instagram posting, I have to tell myself, like, okay, maybe this is not within the time that they respond to emails. And just because I see them on Instagram doesn't mean that they have the capacity and they've ignored my email. I give a lot of grace in this space because I want the same thing to be given to me, even though I rarely need it, because bitch, I'm gonna respond. But usually, so I try to be understanding, and no, no, it's just not given.
It's not.
Let me see. And my highlight, all my notes are done.
Period.
For me, that's a highlight. Well, all my notes for March are done. And so that's a highlight. So it means I've been keeping on top of them at the end of my sessions, and so that feels nice because y'all not gonna stress me no more. I'm going to Dreamville.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So I'm happy about that. I went to the first one. Of course, missed the second one because pandemic. Nervous about this one because pandemic, but I'm going. Um,
Ari's gonna be there too.
who?
Right.
Um, Not Ari. Well, she probably is gonna be there, but the other therapist that's on.
Oh, the one on Twitter.
Oh,
Mhm.
Okay. Maybe I'll be like, hey girl.
right. Yeah.
Um,
Y'all can have a meet cute.
and then I've just noticed that I've been more, or being more intentional. Jasmine, no E, you said something a couple weeks ago. You were like, you're doing the things, but are you focused? Why are you present while you're doing the things? I think is what you said. Um,
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, like I'm there, I'm doing it. Basically, like, bitch, leave me alone. Um, and then I was paying attention. I was like, no, I really don't be. So like I'm
Mhm.
coloring, but I'm thinking about I need to do this, or I
Mhm.
read and then I'm thinking about something else I need to do. And so I've been much more intentional about no, right now we're reading and we're gonna read until we get to the end of this chapter. And then when we're done with this chapter, we can go do whatever else we need to do. Okay, and
I
so then
love that.
like, thank you. I finished the book, y'all.
You
Hey,
know, I love that.
right?
What book was it?
Learning to breathe that I've
How
had
was
since
it?
November. It was really good. Trigger warning, family essay. And so that was like, oh shit. And then I was like, oh, that's probably why it took me so long to read it. Because it was a lot going on. Um,
Mhm.
but the Audible situation was great. I have a little Audible plan on my um little Apple speakers or whatever the hell they're called, and finished the book. So that was nice. I felt accomplished.
Yay! Proud of
Nice.
you.
Thanks, y'all. I'm trying.
Doing.
Doing. Mm.
Present while doing it too.
I'm here.
That is growth.
Thank you.
We love to see it.
Thank you.
Do.
All right. To round us out, I'm start with my challenge, which was coming back from spring break
Mm.
and hopping in this classroom with these kids. Um, we have been so tomorrow they'll be testing. We're wrapping up like the Civil War,
Mm.
Reconstruction, uh, you know, cattle ranching and railroads, because it's Texas, y'all.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry.
all of it. And so I will say I am so ready to get these tests over with tomorrow and Tuesday because they do block scheduling.
Mm.
Um, because it has been a whirlwind. Like just for me learning how to teach, I am fortunate that I am not in an independent school district. So all of the policing around um, just curriculum, I'm not having to deal with. I will say that HISD, Houston ISD, that has been taken over by the Texas Education Agency, I don't know, the TEA. Um, it's been an uproar here. Like people are upset that the state has stepped in to take over the largest school district uh, that is primarily kids of color
Mm.
in the state. So, yeah, watch what's going on in your communities, people. They are really out here trying us. And I will also say, I also agree that if they're rolling back rights for other marginalized groups, what makes us think that we're not next on the docket? I mean, our voting rights are already on the docket, but that's all I'm saying. Pay attention to what's going on in your communities. That's my TED talk. What's that, Mason?
America.
Aren't they
You
doing,
gotta let us
What?
in.
aren't
Yeah,
they doing something in one state right now where they're basically trying to bring back Jim Crow laws?
that's probably Mississippi or Alabama. One of
Yeah.
them. Mississippi just got rid of like their Jim Crow era regulations in like 2013.
Here
They
we go.
just, yeah, they just removed the Confederacy battle flag from their state flag. So it's probably one of those.
You're right. It's Mississippi. They
Yeah.
appointed an all-white team basically for policing or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So like this is the time, right?
Mm.
We're approaching a cusp if we're not already on it. And so what you gonna do? I really didn't mean to go into that tangent like that, but it was in me. All right. My highlight for getting through. Oh, and also I'm back full time in school.
Yeah.
And so this is really like my
Yeah.
first full week of like being a teacher full time, being a graduate student full time. And it's a struggle, but uh, I have turned in assignments on time. Someone tried
Period.
to come for me on the discussion board this week
Mm.
because I,
Oh,
yeah. So um, we had a mock case study on Betty, who was coming into her second session in a manic depressive episode. It doesn't say in the case study if she's having an episode. So she's coming in because of have had it. She did have one. So in my script, I asked her if she was taking any alcohol or illicit substances. And then the person, basically got on there and clocked me for like harmful practices. That if she were in a manic episode, she wouldn't have told the truth. So it would have been harmful to ask her. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But that's what it is for taking critiques, right? Take into consideration, keep it
and
pushing.
this is another student.
This is another student. Yeah. You know
Well,
how it is
tell
like
him to keep
discussion board.
reading,
Yeah.
like to keep living, because what?
Yeah. Um, my highlight for getting through all of this week and feeling good as opposed to how I felt over spring break. I was really just in a depressive mood at a point. So to be on the other end of that and feeling good, I have to attribute taking my antidepressant.
Period.
Shout out to the girlies. And so yeah, so I've had a good week. I went out, saw friends after work rather than just coming home to the same old, same old. Um, yeah, I've been cooking,
Nice.
yeah, reading, showering.
Living.
Living.
Period.
So here we are. So yeah, I'm glad to be here with y'all.
Yes, same. America, your face. Was there something that
Oh, yeah. I was reading about the Jim Crow resurrection in Mississippi.
Yeah,
That's
in 2023.
in
Yeah,
2030. Yeah.
here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, I really feel like being a Black woman in this classroom, teaching this subject with kids, I maybe out of 160, I maybe have 5 white kids.
Mm.
And so it's an opportunity to kind of just shape this for them, you know? And they ask great questions. Uh, if I can't answer them, I do. I find myself taking a beat and censoring what I'm going to say. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
let them know that that's what I'm doing, that I'm processing it. I'm breaking it down for a 12-year-old. And it's also not my place to put them on game. It's my place to teach them history and to give them context. So yeah, I did have a parent of one of my white
America?
students. Look, wait.
Oh shit!
I
I'm sorry, y'all.
I did have a parent of one of my white students reach out, and she emailed me and said that her child had come home and expressed that she felt that kids were like looking at her during these lessons, and that she was intimidated
Oh
to
well.
raise her
Oh,
hand.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh shit.
And
So
what are you calling for?
intimidated. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. And so like but again, I'm her teacher. So I have to approach and validate her
Right.
experience also. And so her and I had a talk one on one. I emailed mom back and mom was like, I'm very appreciative of this. Thank you. And it's not on these kids. The history isn't on them. What we can do at 12 and 13 years old is make them aware of it, teach them empathy, teach them about other cultures so that, and I'm only seventh grade. So I hope that by the time they get in the real world, like, it sounds corny, but they are the future.
They are.
So, yeah. Like, for
America.
example,
Oh,
for example, we're learning about Native Americans, right? We just finished a unit over how Native Americans were pushed into reservations. I don't ever remember learning about how reservation life is currently. So I'm giving them context of like, this is what's happening in the 1800s.
Hmm.
Modernly, reservations are just the people there are almost depleted. Their cultures aren't respected world like nationally. There's a lot of poverty, alcoholism, drugs. They just put them on game as much as I can, y'all. America, you're still in the
well, now she looked into
Mississippi?
the
Yeah.
reservations.
Oh, okay.
I did. Um, mm, I just know it ain't for me. That's all.
I feel that.
That's all. Because baby, the way all them kids in there would be
Militant.
melted and ready to take the hell over,
Right?
Hmm.
they would be
Anti-racist.
But you also don't want to be that teacher that like gets a phone pulled on them in their classroom and you're doing something that's going to end up on the nightly news, you know? So, yeah, it is
and
a
that's why and
it is
that's
a fine line
that's
because
why
I like my paycheck. I actually do.
that's why I have to mind my business because baby,
Right.
um yeah, and I would be explaining why the Native Americans are why there's a high substance use rate and all of that. Like they would be like that little
See,
girl would have went home with a completely different story.
Hmm.
4 or 5.
well, this topic of slavery, I have had to talk of them with first I laid the perimeter of like, this is it's not funny. We're not going to make jokes because what I'm noticing is these kids they know the buzzwords. So they know racist, they know racism, they
Mm.
know slavery, slave, and so it's having to explain to them like you can't call your classmate a slave or your slave. And this is why. This is what that is. This is what these words mean. And a lot of that attributes to their their upbringing, but also social media. Again, where are they hearing all this? You know, I talked to my Hispanic kids about using the N word. You
Mm.
know, it's not of your culture. So, like, this is why, and again, you say the wrong thing in front of the wrong person at some point. It doesn't matter if your black friend in your group is okay with it. There
Right.
are air quotes around that. You say the wrong thing around the wrong person, you can get your block knocked off. Like, let's be real.
As you should.
Hmm.
And sometimes that's what it takes.
Sometimes that's what it takes, you know. So, yeah. And there's eighth graders mixed in there too, right? Because I mingle with the eighth graders since they're in the hall sometimes in my classroom. Yeah. Teach the world, teach the children.
Unless you're in LAUSD, then you can be on strike. So,
Yikes. Yikes.
yeah. And
All
I'm
right.
not sure, but I heard that they took away one of our weeks of Christmas break. So instead of 3, we'll have 2. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave by then. I was like,
That's
mm-mm.
Because of the strike?
No, not because of the strike.
Oh.
I don't
so
know
what
why.
else?
Uh,
I'll
it
say
makes
what else would it be?
it makes 0 sense.
Oh yeah, no. Mm-mm.
It's because that's right.
So we'll see. But y'all know I love to put people onto new things that I am watching, listening to, working out to, reading. Y'all just know I love to put it on some new. So, one, this is my Nunu. I got a little Kindle. Little,
Oh,
isn't it so
I was
cute?
wondering. I was like, why is your composition book so small?
Yeah, it's my little Kindle cover. But I am reading a book called Regretting You by Colleen Hoover, and I fear that she is a very good author. I do fear it. Because I'm reading it and I'm just like, I felt sick to my stomach at a point, and I was like,
Mm.
woo. But yeah, also Goodreads. I'm not sure if I ever shared that, but Goodreads is an app that you can track your reading on, the books that you want to read, the books that you have read. It has like a reading challenge. So I have a couple friends that are on there, and I love to see what they're reading, see how much progress they've had and things like that. But yeah, that's my new. What about y'all? What's new with you?
What you got, America? Are you still researching?
No, I was thinking about what I wanted to say. Um, okay, I'll do a book too. I just started Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan.
Mm.
You read that, didn't you?
Ah, I did. I read that.
I can tell by the look on your face. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't get to my mute button fast enough. But yeah, I love it. It's going to probably piss you off
Okay.
at times because you're like, just fucking talk,
Mhm.
But I really liked being able to read both perspectives. You're gonna love it.
Okay. Well, I'm
Mm.
excited. I've only made it to page 2 because I was like, I need my Audible, and I used my credit for an IFS book. So I,
Oh my goodness.
I'm very upset about that. So I'm either gonna have to. Oh, I got another day. They reset tomorrow, I think.
Oh,
27th.
great.
So I'll just wait, and then I'll start. I'll get a little further there so I can focus.
Yes.
But yes,
Yes.
I got the cover is beautiful.
It
I think that's what
is.
threw me in. Like, wow. So
Mhm.
yep.
I like it.
And she black.
Mm.
Mhm.
And she black. She black.
What kind of books do y'all like to read? Because I'm also starting a book club.
I saw that, and I was wondering when we were invited that I was gonna
I
wait.
know. I low key want to be down.
Of
Um,
course. I was thinking of doing like hybrid, so like Zoom and in person. So
Okay.
like y'all can be on Zoom,
Hmm.
we'll be in person. But yeah, it's coming.
I like that. It's my turn. I would say my new is I haven't watched Swarm yet, and I don't know. I don't know if I will, you guys.
Did you watch it, America?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So
I
I literally posted on my close friends. I said, anybody want to tell me what the fuck going on in Swarm? What am I watching?
Well, you
what
know
am
what?
I watching?
There was a statement before this about y'all girl.
But I know supposedly about Beyonce.
Uh-huh.
If people are like this, like I'm concerned.
But it's
'Cause-
based on a true story though. They really are looking for a girl or something about a girl.
well,
I
it's a
don't know.
concern for me because that bitch was off her rocker.
See, I don't know. I feel like the way Donald Glover writes, it
Mm.
makes you believe that it's real. Sometimes you watch
Mm.
Atlanta and you're like, the hell?
Yeah,
It's
that's
that
fair.
Mm.
hyper realism.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously they had to have had Beyonce's sign off to some extent before this. And it's clearly about the beehive. I mean, for me, it seems like it's an allegory of like, how far are y'all gonna go? Because y'all do
Mhm.
the most.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if yeah, I don't know. I've
I
also
would
seen a lot
say,
about it, so like I know essentially what's gonna happen, you know.
I've been scrolling past all the spoilers. I actually want to watch it.
Jasmine, did you finish it?
Hell no.
Mm.
I think I got to the second episode and then I was like, what else you want to watch?
Yes.
Mhm. What's the hang up?
It's just like very unnecessarily like, are you serious? You about to do
Mhm.
this because they tweeted that they don't like your favorite singer? Like that's
Mhm.
really seek therapy.
I was going to say this is coming from a mental health professional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I'll just read the comments about it on Twitter. Y'all be blessed. Oh shit. Well, speaking of someone who needed closure, right?
hmm closure is a scam, people. It is a figment of your imagination.
Yes.
You've heard it here first.
What do y'all think closure is supposed to be?
Mm. I think it's when you emotionally lead, your actions are led by your emotions. And rather than logically looking at a situation of is it healthy? Is it moving forward? Is this what I want? And being introspective, it's it's a mess. It's a mess. How many times have we all sought out closure, didn't get it, and so then now you're having to inevitably do the healing anyway, the painful part anyway. Um, but you've just prolonged it because you took your energy into seeking closure.
Yeah. When I look at closure, and I'll go backwards, right, from when I was young and dumb. Um, so for me, it was like, we should probably talk about this, and talk about our feelings and da 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 da. And it would end up like me making out with them. Not me like doing it, but like falling into that habit again. And I'm assuming that is emotionally led, right? Or just like wanting that sense of connection. But I can say that I've never had a conversation about closure that ended in a good way. It's never been like, oh, let's figure this out or how do we move forward? It's never been that. And so I truly feel like it is a scam. And most of the time, people know what they did that was like fucked up, and you know what you did. And so, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
I think there's a difference between what closure actually is
hmm
and what we are typically seeking out at the end of relationships.
Right.
So when I think about closure, I think about accepting it for what it is, being able to let it go. Closure is period. Boop.
Hmm.
And I notice a lot of times when people are talking about closure, it's closure, comma, right? So, like, there's this hope that they can go have
Right.
this conversation with this person. They're going to get some answers. They're going to be able to explain themselves. Um,
hmm
they're going to have these hard conversations that they probably should have been having throughout
The
the
whole time.
right. And so like it's a point in that moment, it's a hope to prove to this person or to talk it out enough so they don't see you as a bad person or so that they want to be in relationship with you again.
Right.
That's what the problem is.
hmm
Because if we're looking at closure as a way to get the answers and a way to get this validation and get our ego stroked,
Mm-hmm.
All more often than not, that's not gonna happen. And if it does, it's temporary.
Right.
Versus like leaning more into, baby, it's done. It's over.
Right.
And I don't need to explain myself. He don't need to, or they don't need to explain themselves. We don't need to talk about what went wrong. We just know what is.
Right. Right. And I think that it also depends on where you are and
Mhm.
regarding like your relationship. So like I'll be very transparent. My last relationship, um
Ooh.
I was already done. I was like ready. So when he broke up with me via text, I said, back, no trades back, bitch. You're never gonna find better than me.
Oh my God.
Like
No chase.
that's it. So then like there was multiple times that he would like text me like, oh, our families know each other, like, we're not gonna be able to find anyone. I was like, correction, you're not gonna be able to find nobody. I'm
Mm,
gonna be fine. Nobody better
Get
than
over here.
me, like
Yeah.
respectfully,
mhm,
right? Also, and so in that regard, I was like, nigga, no, there's nothing that you could ever do to make me go back with you, like ever, right? But when I, in other situations, have been like not over a person, then I go into, like I said, we making out, how we get here. you know, we was supposed to not be talking, what we doing?
mhm,
And so that's why I say that it's a scam if you're not where you should be in your healing journey, right? Like if you want to say like, okay, that was cool, like we had our memories, if you want to take so and so to this place, do you? I'm not going to hold that against you. Period.
mhm.
But like I said, ain't happened.
Mm. Yeah.
I
I
kind of
would
feel
say,
like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
no, no, I would say just before I sought out therapy for my daddy issues, I was that girl. And in a way,
Mhm.
it was manipulative,
Yep.
right?
Mhm. And you're a
Yeah.
cancer. Fun fact. Did you know that we're manipulative? I Googled it. That was the first thing that
Um,
popped up. I said,
yep.
why are cancers so, and it said manipulative. I said,
Right. I consider it a superpower, right? I can use it for evil. I can use it for
right,
good. It can either be manipulative or it can be persuasive, right?
right.
Um, and so once I processed my need for seeking out attention by any means necessary or
Mm-hmm.
needing a man to feel a certain type of way about myself
Mm-hmm.
rather than
Mm-hmm.
already doing so, before I address those things within, it was, I need this closure. And it was very much a comma, not a
Mm-hmm.
semicolon, not a period. It was a very much a comma. Sometimes it
Like,
was
I
right on a
need you
sentence.
closer. I need you
Closer,
closer.
closer. I get over here to talk, but why are my clothes over there? What the hell?
Ooh, where they
Oh,
at?
no, no.
Oops.
Yeah. Stuff into your lap. Oh no. So yeah, and then you're upset when shit doesn't work out because some people, when they say they're done, they actually are done.
Are done.
Some people do establish boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Some motherfuckers just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it wasn't until then for me now what closure looks like in relationships, I can say for family, for friends, for relationships, if it no longer serves me, if you're not on this trajectory with me, if you make me feel worse in your company or by dealing with you than I do when I'm alone,
Right.
then
It's not giving.
it's not giving. And I'm no longer giving. Because when I love, I love.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I have instances of that in all three categories. I've dealt with my shit, you know. You need
As
to deal with
far as
yours.
like like romance.
Well, just I've been through therapy. I've
Right.
acknowledged I'm self-aware. So for me, there's no need to be manipulative. There's no need
Right.
to seek out pushing the boundaries on a situation even further,
Mm-hmm.
making myself feel worse because I know better, but emotionally, I'm going to keep trying,
Right.
keep giving people chances,
Mm.
even if
And
it hurts
that's
me.
it was enough of that.
Yeah.
As soon as I hit what 28, 29, I said something gotta give. But
Hmm.
even before that, that's when I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like this is they've showed me who they are.
Mhm.
How many times must they?
Yeah. Yeah. I have instances like that with, I've been talking more so about relationships, but I've had friendships
Friendship. Oh.
that, you've shown me a few times over the years and I let it slide. And then it gets to a
Hmm.
point of this no longer serves me.
Right.
And
I
I'm
was
putting
about
a
to say,
period on it. Yeah.
we ain't on no slip and slide, bitch. It's over.
Yeah. And one particular friendship that ended after college, after years of us uh, being friends, postgraduate, and it just got to a point once I cut the friendship off. Um, he would send me. He said he. It got to the point where he would send me like poems. You guys know Sex and City, the first movie, where
Hmm.
Big and Carrie break up, and he's sending her poems from the book that she was reading
Mhm.
at the beginning of the movie, and she doesn't get them. It got to a point where, like, he was doing that, right? This is an old gay friend of mine, and, like, Sex and City was, like, one of our things, and I get what he was doing, but the conversations they've been had, words have been said, and when I hit the skirt, like, uh, there's no like you said, there's no be-backs,
Mm-mm.
you know? What you said, you meant, and so did I. So, no. Yeah. I have a cousin that I don't fuck with anymore because after one too many times, I was giving her chances to come back in without having discussions over the last bit of
Mm.
manipulation, the last incident that occurred, simply
Mm-mm.
because we were family, right? And that's what
Mm.
you're supposed to do.
I
And it
see.
and it got to a point where it's like, no, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I always joked that like maybe this we fell out in our 20s. It was like, well, maybe in our 30s we'll get it together. And now I'm 30 years old and I'm like,
Still not given.
do I need to revisit it? So I would first, when situations make you uncomfortable when they're coming to an end, I would first ask, do you need the closure? Does it serve you?
What will it change?
What will it change?
Say it.
I think too, because y'all have done the work, there is a certain level of um, being self assured that comes across in these conversations for both of y'all. And
Hmm.
so it's you've done your work, you recognize your value, and it's easier for you to
Right.
skirt.
Hmm.
And then we also have to keep in mind that again, there's a level of work that takes place to get to that point. And so for a lot of people, I'm assuming a good chunk of folks who are going to listen to this, that might not feel like their reality.
Mm.
And so understanding that in that moment for them, what closure really is closure is an attempt to answer the questions. It's an attempt to help people really understand how to begin the process of moving forward. At least that's what they think it is. Because
Hmm.
if you're already somebody who is second guessing yourself, you're doubting yourself, you're not that
Right.
confident in these instances, even if you know that this relationship wasn't working, friendship, family, whatever, there's going to be a part of you that's going to second guess and question, okay, so what did I do wrong? What is it about me that I can't keep solid friendships? What is it about me that I'm not able to have healthy romantic relationships? Everybody else has all of these cousins that are like their sisters and brothers. Why don't I have that?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's a part of this too, right?
Yeah.
And so in the situations y'all both described, it was y'all had made the decision that it's a no. But also, what happens when you don't make that decision that it's a no, and you still want that relationship to continue?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Those very questions that you're mentioning, why me, what's going on
Mhm.
with me,
Yep.
the taking account of what starts off as blaming
Mhm.
for me is what led me into
Mhm.
seeking therapy.
Mhm.
And then in that blaming, I found accountability.
Mhm.
And these are tools that I learned through going through therapy.
Mhm.
But it
Right.
was those questions that were eating me alive, right? Why can't I make it work with this person? I love them,
Mhm.
you know? Why can't this work? And this isn't the first time. What am I
Mm-hmm.
doing? What's wrong with me?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And those have been questions that I've asked myself as well. And I'm sitting here trying to think, like, if there's been a time where someone has like cut me off, right? But whenever I was in my early 20s, the person I was going back and forth with will like decide to not talk to me all the time. But that scarcity mindset had me like as soon as he was ready to. And so I can't really pinpoint if besides that, like that has happened because essentially like the friends and like romantic relationships that I've like ended, like I didn't want back.
Mhm.
um and so like, well, no, I won't say that because before I realized that like the friend group that I was a part of was not right for me, like I would be like wanting to have these conversations. And so we didn't even touch on like the friendship part, right? But there has been times where, I've fallen out and we do the whole long drawn out like, okay, let's meet up at so and so we can talk about this, right? And been able to like talk things out. So in that regard, like closure has been helpful, right? Because the answers I'm getting. Um, and after so many of those conversations, I then was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Yes, relationships are work and require work, and it shouldn't be this much work.
Mhm.
And I'm not even getting like my basic needs met. So
Mhm.
like what am I even doing?
Mhm.
So then again, I'm asking myself like, does this even serve me? What is the need to have a conversation? They know that they had me fucked up when they did that. They knew it.
Mhm.
What do I need to come and say like, "Hey, when you did this, I felt this way." No, you knew that.
Mhm.
Especially if we've had conversations about this and I've said, hey, when you do this, that makes me feel this way, and you still do it. Oh, you just don't give a damn.
Right.
And that's fine. And sometimes you got to leave people where they at. So I feel like in those instances, they don't require closure for me.
Mhm.
There's nothing that you could tell me that will make me want to be back where you are. Like, I'm cool. I'm so cool.
Mhm.
But I think that friendship closure, like having those conversations can be helpful, right? But having them all the time and nothing changes is not helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
truly.
really think that even those questions, though, like the questions that I posed, and I pose them because I've heard them before, of why me, what did I do, why can't I, and all that good stuff. I really think that that is just our brain doing what it does best, and it's trying to
Mhm.
get answers. It's trying to be in control.
Right.
So if
Right.
I know why, if I can answer this question, why, then I feel like I'm in some position of control to do something better or
Mhm.
do something different. But
Yeah.
what I've noticed is people will find out why and then try to convince the person why their why is
Right.
a good enough
Just
reason.
right. Oh my God.
Mm-mm.
Why?
Why?
Why are people like this?
Why?
I
Why?
mean, I legitimately have seen people say, like, I don't care about none of that. I'm never gonna leave you alone.
Right. So you just don't care about me, basically.
The way I'm about to get a different number and you'll never hear from me.
Correct.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Mm,
I'm like, we're gonna always have jobs.
always.
No, for real. The pandemic 100% solidified that.
Mhm.
Man.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know I brought up like family closure, right? So I know earlier last year, I was like in this year, but it's a whole new year. I know earlier I was telling you all about like me being able to have a conversation with my family, address my concerns and things like that. And so I would say in that regard, like that was helpful. I got the closure that I needed. Like I let my mom know how her actions made me feel. And instead of doing what a lot of other parents do and just like invalidate that, she completely validated my feelings and was like, "You right. You know, I shouldn't have reacted that way." And so in that regard, like if you have a safe relationship to do so, like I think it can be helpful and improve your relationships in your families. If it's not safe, don't do it though.
Mm.
Right.
It sounds like the theme that's coming up with the growth between needing the closure, the validation, the comma instead of the period are proper boundaries. And I would even say boundaries within yourself,
Hmm.
right? Taking that time to like check yourself. Do I need this closure or can I pivot?
Right.
What do you think?
And what happens if I don't get that closure? I think that's a great question to always ask yourself. Like, if I don't get it, will I be okay? That's fine. Like, there's some exercises that I can do to gain the closure I need for myself and continue to move on.
Yeah. I love the visual processing of America's words.
I do this when I'm working too, so it's an ongoing thing. Um, I just think that true closure is an internal job.
Yeah.
Mhm. It
I
is. It's
Yeah.
just acceptance, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really acceptance, is accountability without criticism or judgment. It's giving yourself the space to grieve the loss of the relationship or to grieve the fact that the relationship wasn't what you wanted it to be. Like
Right.
that's the real work. Because if you go to an ex and they tell you, these are the reasons why
I
I
cheated.
want to be right. I don't want to be in this relationship, or this is why I cheated, or this is why whatever. That's not gonna do a damn thing for
Anything.
you. Like, okay, you'll know, but like, does it make it easier for you to heal from this heartbreak? No,
No.
No.
and not at all. That's where the karma comes from. Like, that's not gonna do
Right.
anything for you. Even if you go to the person and you say, what happened, and they're like, you're an amazing person. This has nothing to do with you. This is about me and my stuff that I'm trying to work on and work through. Most
Right.
people's reaction is still going to be, but I can help you do that. Why can't you do that with me? We can do that together. It's still not going to change
It's
Yeah.
not giving.
anything. So I think the getting it in family is one thing and
Hmm.
can be helpful because y'all are family, right? Like y'all tied, that them blood ties. And so that's a little different
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to not necessarily you have to be around those people, but
Right.
more than likely.
You'll
Versus
be around them.
yeah,
Right.
versus like a romantic relationship or a platonic relationship where these are your chosen people.
Right.
So you don't have to necessarily engage with them, but no answer is ever really going to be good enough
Right.
ever. If a man come up to you, if your ex came and was like, you were the perfect woman, you did everything you needed to be. I've seen this. I've seen this. I need closure. Da, 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 da. I have seen the man sit with the woman. I have been a part of it. You were the perfect woman, the perfect wife, the perfect mother. You were everything a man could want.
Mm.
And I just wasn't ready for that.
Mm.
Now the man I saw walked away and baby boy was good. He
Right.
felt relieved because he could have an honest conversation. The woman is in shambles because even though these are things she knew in the back of her mind, getting this doesn't change the fact that this man drug her throughout their relationship. And
Mm.
now she got to figure out how to pick up the pieces.
Right.
And she's held up on her healing for X amount of years, wanting to get this closure, and that's what she got. And it didn't do shit for her.
Right.
Or prolong the healing.
Prolonged her process.
Period. You said that you feel like closure is an inside job. So, what are some ways that we can work on that closure ourselves?
Okay, I'll give you an example. One of the things I did in the eventually from the breakup I told y'all about first or second or third episode was once I stopped being on some because I think I was very blaming of the other person. That nigga ain't shit. But I also had to sit and I had to take responsibility and accountability for how I also showed up in that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I was a baby. We're talking 15 to 22. So like a baby, brain not fully developed. But I
Mm-hmm.
had to really sit and acknowledge what was happening during that time, how I was showing up. Was this even really somebody that I wanted to be in a long-term relationship with? Was I showing up how I wanted to show up as a woman and potential wife and all of these other things?
Mm.
Was being in this relationship actually allowing me to grow, or was I kind of stuck in the same spot mentally, physically that I was when the relationship first started? Am I
Mm-hmm.
a better version of myself now than I was when it started, or am I a worse version of myself?
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized I was not a better person coming out of that relationship. In fact, I had reached a point of being stagnant, and there was all of these other things happening that I don't think would have happened if I weren't in that relationship. So
Right.
it took me, was my ego bruised? Yeah. Did I feel rejected? Sure. Like that's common when you are dealing with the relationship, the end of a relationship. But then in that, you got to be really honest about what's happening. If I don't let this person or relationship go, what does that then mean for me? Because
Right.
baby boy is living his life. Okay. He is shimmying and scrolling all around the city, baby.
They always do.
Pun intended, if y'all caught my little hint.
I
I
did. I caught it.
Okay. So you cleaning it up and yeah, everywhere. And baby in the house sick.
Mm.
Oh my god.
Okay. So eventually I was like, wait a minute.
I'm not living my life.
I am 22, honey. Why am
I'm young. I'm never gonna be this young
I not?
again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The original Hot Girls
the
2012.
original. Okay. So it to me it's really about spending that time with yourself, honesty, and like sometimes that honesty is cringy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to be honest and to do that with compassion. It's taking the time to grieve because you're grieving multiple things. I know when we talk about grief, we talk about it as if it's just when somebody passes, but we can grieve the end of a relationship. You can
Right.
grieve what you wanted to be, what you thought it would be, who you thought you were. You can
Yeah.
grieve
Right.
the old version of you, the person you were in that relationship, because now you got to you got to make some transitions. You're going to be a different version of yourself now. So really, people say time heals all, and I've always said that I think that is trash.
It
During
is
that time,
trash.
it is
It
about
depends on what you're doing.
correct. It's all about your intentions.
Right.
If you showing up for yourself in a certain way during that time, and you're being honest about the ways you've shown up, what you needed, what you didn't need, all of those good things, what you want to see different, then yes, time is gonna heal because you're doing the work. But if you're just waiting for it to happen because you hoping one day he gonna shimmy back in and
Right.
you,
Shut
or
the
bark back in or whatever else you want to use, thinking they just gonna come and do that, and then you can start, that's crazy because then you still stuck back here, and
Right.
then everybody else is up here living.
And you've made no progress.
Made no
So,
progress. You just mad.
yeah. So, I would also say that doing some shadow work can be helpful, some journaling can be helpful, some self help books can be helpful. Um, but not doing anything will not make those feelings go away.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
feel the feelings compassionately and have something to do so that you're not just feeling the feelings.
right. Keep yourself busy. That's what my mom always told me. And it helps, you know. And sometimes it's okay to rest, but when your resting becomes
Every day.
detrimental to your
Right.
healing, then, you know, yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah. Don't let your brain play games with you because it will.
Oh yeah, it will.
It will.
Because it's trying to protect you.
Yeah.
So it will play games with you 100%. And that's where that self-awareness piece comes in. If you're not self-aware
Right.
to notice these things or be willing
Right.
to sit with them, it's gonna be 10 plus years and you still upset about a nigga shimmying now. Girl, let that man go. Let that man go. Hang it up.
Flat screen.
Just thinking that. I was just thinking that.
Connected by Nikki.
Okay.
I feel like this has been a really good conversation.
Yeah.
I got a lot out of it, as I always do. But hopefully, this has been helpful for you, and you realize that you don't need no closure from nobody's raggedy ass son or daughter or person.
Period.
Okay. You have all the tools to move forward. Remind yourself of that when things get difficult. So, remember that you can do the hikes, the runs. You can do reformer Pilates and only drink kale smoothies. But if you are ignoring the things going on in your head and in your heart, then you're still naturally healthy. So go on ahead and seek therapy, baby. We all need that shit. We will see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.